Michael Maguire joins the Broncos.
Madge.
Smithy, walk us through. Obviously, Kevy gets let go. Walk us through your feelings across the whole thing, mate. Love to hear it.
Yeah, look, I think when it all broke, us sort of, I was in shock, to be honest. My opinion was that I thought the Broncos were going to give Kevy at least another shot at the start of next year. I thought they should have given him another season, right? As disappointing as this year was, and when you look at their team list and all that sort of stuff, like coming off a grand final, sort of 15 minutes away from a premiership. They had one in on the trophy, but to this year not making finals. I know, huge disappointment. Huge disappointment. But I cast my mind back to 12 months ago, right? In the lead up to this game 12 months ago. The amount of back patting Kevy was getting and people just absolutely talking him up. How good is he? And, it's great. He's got the Broncos back where they should be, playing in a grand final, vying for a premiership. This is what the Broncos is all about. Like everyone, mate. Everyone was patting him on the back and singing his praises. Whereas now they don't make the finals and all of a sudden, I don't think he's the right person for the job. I just thought that he deserved another 12 months. Now, like I've spoken on our show previously about how injuries aren't excuses, because if you look at the two sides in the grand final this week, they've had their fair share of injuries this year. And they could have tossed up and said, oh, well, look, Cam Munster's been out for half the year. Or, Cleary's only played 12 games this year. That's why we didn't make a grand final or didn't play finals. Well, they went on and continued to play and they got wins. Broncos didn't do that. So I was actually thinking to myself, I think the club may give him another opportunity next year to go, right, was this a one-off? Did we just have a bad year all round as coaches and players? And we all underperformed. Do we go another 12 months and, mate, if it's another failure, you're gone. They obviously didn't think that. They thought something more severe was going on and that they needed a change straight away, and they've gone that way. Now, do I think Michael Maguire can make a difference? He's certainly a very different coach to Kevy Walters. Okay, Kevy, in my experience, look, I've been coached by Kevy at Clubland. He was an assistant coach with Craig Bellamy, okay? And every time I get asked about, individuals, when they've been a coach, a head coach and an assistant coach, it's hard to compare the two because they turn into different people. Mate, they're different people. I'm telling you right now. And I had Madge as assistant coach at Melbourne too. So seeing him in the West Tigers doco, he was a completely different person to what I seen in Melbourne when he was assistant coach. He was all smiles. He was always upbeat. He was grabbing when blokes were down. He'd grab them around. Put his arm around him, say, "Come on, mate, we need you to be better, and let's lift in next job," and blah blah blah. He was the good cop bad cop situation with Craig Bellamy, right? Whereas when you're a head coach, you're very much different to what you are as an assistant. So the difference between the two, Kevy's more around, particularly as an ex-player of the Broncos, he's more around, the passion of being a Broncos player. Okay, what it means to represent the Broncos, what it means to wear the Broncos jersey and go out there and play with pride and play for your mate and play hard and all that sort of stuff. Whereas I think Madge will be more, he'll focus more on the finer parts of the game. Okay, much more like, say, a Craig Bellamy. So he'll be talking fundamentals, he'll be talking effort, he'll be talking all different things. Whereas I think Kev was more about, the thought process or the mentality of being a Bronco and what that means and how you should go and play. So I think what Michael Maguire might bring to this footy club is a bit more structure to their football program. I think he might bring a bit more sort of repetition. Now, whether, I can't say one's wrong and one's right. It's just, you're looking for something that's going to get the best out of the squad that you have. So it's going to be interesting to see what Madge will do with this list that he has at the moment. Because on paper, when you look at it, you go, that's a top four list. they've got the caliber of player there to go and compete against anyone.
Yeah.
They just, for some reason this year, and it's hard to comment. Like, you can't say this is why and this is why because we're not there, mate.
Yeah.
You know, but it's sort of looking at the list they had. It's hard to sort of put together a thought process or a reason as to why they were unable to perform this year.
Yeah, like the talk around Michael Maguire has kind of been, will his intensity mix with this current roster? And, this current roster is a younger roster at the Broncos, and they're flary and they're out there, and those are often things you don't associate with, the intense, tough stuff. Now, like, don't get me wrong, like, you can be flary and out there and still tough, Reece Walsh, first tackle he took in Origin, he ran straight at the front rows for New South Wales. There are different types of toughness. Yeah. But it is a question, the intensity with Michael Maguire brings. How will this younger generation of Broncos players deal with it? Now, I actually found a good quote from Angus Crichton in regards to, because that has been the talk around Michael Maguire. He's very intense as a head coach. Obviously, he's different as an assistant coach, as you just mentioned. And for our listeners, assistant coaches, geez, they are so different to head coaches. I cannot express it strongly enough.
Yeah.
Because they are the ones that get to tell you the good news, and they're the ones that get to come and pick you up when you're down and pat you on the back. And whereas the head coach, he has to have the hard conversations. Anyway, so this is what Angus Crichton said during this Blues series this year. He'd probably be the first to admit, that's Madge, that he has softened his approach. I think that's a credit to him as a coach and as a man evolving with the times and learning from where he may have made some mistakes in the past. He's sort of been driving the connection more than anything. That less is more mentality, making sure that training is sharp, the boys are on, and the boys are having a good time, and everyone is enjoying each other's company. So, hearing from Angus, who actually was handed his debut from Michael Maguire, I think that's going to be interesting, is to see how far Madge has evolved to be able to potentially handle a team that really does represent the next generation of athlete.
Yeah, but you got to understand, Kempy, though, like that's state of origin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's completely different, mate. And coaching a stateside compared to a club side they're two separate things, mate. Really, all you're doing as, and I'm not saying it's an easy job, right? Because I've never done it, so I'm not going to say that it's easy. But the facts are, because I've been involved in these sides, the facts are when you get to that level and you're coaching a team of New South Wales players, you're not really coaching them. As Angus Crichton just said there, like, you're bringing together a group of players, highly skillful, very talented players, and bringing a connection so they're all on board with the same goal in mind and understanding how they achieve that goal together. Okay? So, like, there's no way you get into camp and you've got, Jerome Luai in there, Reece Robson, Payne Haas, like these type of guys. Like, you're not coaching them. You don't have time. To start with, you don't have time. You've got a 10-day build-up. There's no way you're going to try and sit down 17 or 18 players and say, okay, boys, I'm going to teach you the way I want you to play football. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
You can't do it. So you're actually really not coaching them. You are managing that group together and bringing them together as one to have, to bring that, like Madge spoke about this year, and he was very successful at it, bringing that passion back into what it means to be a New South Wales player, what it meant to wear that sky blue jersey. He spoke about that in his press conferences. I remember it, leading into game one, where he held that jersey up. Yeah. He just kept picking it up and showing it, and talking about the jersey, and I'm picking players that want to play for this jersey and this and that. That's all it's about, mate. It's very different. Like when he gets into this preseason, they'll be starting soon.
Yep.
Like, it's 2nd of October. Like, they're rookie players. They're younger guys. They'll be kicking off in a few weeks. So I can bet you bottom dollar that it won't be the same Michael Maguire that we seen during that Origin period, where he just had to get in and just manage his players, and he did a wonderful job at it. Hence why they won the series this year. Get into Clubland though, it's not. You don't have 17 or 18 of the best players in the game at your disposal. Okay, you've got when you look at it, when you're looking at elite players. Okay, and we just finished talking about how they got a great list, but you talk about, say, Carrigan, Haas, Walsh, Reynolds. Yeah, they're sort of the cream of the crop there. You know what I mean? Cobbo's played a little bit of rep footy. Tony Staggs, a little bit as well. But outside of that, mate, like you've got a core group of players that have played, 60, 80, 100 first grade games who are still learning, and then below them you've got newcomers, you've got rookies that have got a lot of natural ability, but they don't understand what it takes to be a consistent first grader. So that's what coaching is.
Yeah.
Okay, to bring all of those different, there are different levels of rugby league as far as where they are in their journey, and they've all got different abilities. They've all got different thoughts and processes on what the way the game should be played. But you got to bring all of those people together and constantly educating them on the game and how to improve. That's coaching. So and that's what brings pressure, and that's what brings that intensity that we've seen Madge have at different clubs that he's been involved in.
Yeah, he's already made reportedly already made some first big moves. So Kobe Hetherington and Corey Pakes were all basically told, you're good to go.
Yeah.
You're elsewhere.
Yep.
And Madge has come in and said, no,
boys.
You're not going anywhere. I want you here.
I like that.
I like that too.
I think they're two very valuable players for him.
Agreed, and I was actually really surprised. Like Kobe Hetherington, he's the kind of bloke I want in a Broncos jersey. He's tough as nails. He goes all day long. Yeah, for sure. There's parts of his game he needs to improve on, but I was quite surprised we were letting him go, because I feel like that's what we kind of miss is tough as nails guy that's going to get through a bunch of work. And Pakes in the modern game, I think, in the right environment, has a lot to offer. Super explosive 14. So I like the decisive nature of Madge. I like the fact that he hasn't really sat on it too long. He's gone, nah, this is what I want. Boom, boom, boom. So yeah, look, as I said, to begin the segment off, it really is going to be interesting. Like, what version of Madge will we see? Will it be the South Sydney one? Will it be the West Tigers one? Will it be one we've never seen before? Will it be a new and improved one? Yeah,
I reckon we'll find out after about 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So let's see how results go for the Bronx in the first 6 weeks, where they're sitting on the ladder. Like if they're 5-1, if they've won 5, lost 1, then we'll see a pretty sort of, I guess, I wouldn't say a happy Madge, because I reckon he's a lot like Craig Bellamy. He's always looking for that improvement.
Yeah.
But compared to, say, a 1-5 after 6 weeks, look out, boys! Look out.
There's been a lot of, there's been talk about, ex-players talking about the fact that he's a New South Welshman. You know what fixes that? Winning. If he's winning, there's who cares where he's from? I don't think anyone's going to bother.
Yeah, I think back in the day, like maybe that whole Queensland thing, that was the sort of outlook of what people wanted at the Broncos. But your captain's a New South Welshman.
Yeah. Our front row is a New South Welshman.
Payne Haas is a New South Welshman.
Yeah.
Like, I think, those days are gone.